Welcome to another episode of the Next Fix podcast, where we are diving a little bit into the past, but more importantly, focused on the future and the comeback stories of people that have suffered from substance abuse. Maybe they've hit rock bottom and different other elements of their lives, but this is where we get to see this wide spectrum that a lot of us have endured in the recovery community. And today we've got Joe Jacobson with us. Joe, welcome to the show, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Joe is he's coming to us from Portland, Oregon, and as everybody typically knows, I'm down here in Florida. So this is exciting. I am hearing Joe's story. I've got like a very brief overview of what he's dabbled in, and from what it appears like, he's one of us guys, right? Like he's seen some dark times, but now he's on the better end. He's gotten some traction in his recovery, and so he's making moves, and we're going to hear about that later. But first, we want to hear about why he had to make some moves. Like, why did it look so bleak for you, brother? And when did you start to think, okay, I got to make a move here. Something has to change.
Yeah. So I had one of the most kind of picturesque childhoods you could, strong family, upper middle class. I'm from Lake Oswego, which is like a ritzy suburb of Portland, and just never had to work hard for anything. And anytime my sister and I reached a problem we couldn't solve, there was just immediate help. So I didn't really find out until later that really kind of robs the kid of their self-esteem. And so kind of coincidentally, both of us ended up being alcoholics. I don't know if it was all that, but really when I got to, we started drinking in high school. We liked to party and we were social kids, and I kind of
did you get bailed out by your you got a ticket, right? This is just a hypothetical here. You get a ticket, like what do? You call mom and dad, and then it's like, it's a right. Okay, I get it. Right? Yeah. So like, no matter what, it's like, we'll throw a little bit of money at it, make a phone call, on with our lives. No real work on your end.
Yeah, and especially being the second kid, I think the first kid always gets in a lot more trouble than the second one. So I remember my sister used to get punished a lot more, and then maybe it's a boy thing too, where it's like, or whatever, our baby boy. But it was getting bailed out of at first homework projects, then tickets, and then jail.
Right. Yeah. It's a foreshadowing, and it's wild that you've kind of nailed that down. Looking back, obviously, at the moment, what the hell do you care? You're 15, 16, 17, 18, and you're like, dude, I want this gone now. I'm going to just take the easiest road to get that. It's like, I don't want to learn my lesson. I want this shit gone.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if it was, there's a lot of rage in our family. My uncle was kind of telling me that a little bit, because we're not super close to all of my mom's side, but he was telling me a lot of the issues that I ended up having. He's like, that's big in our family. So, and that was just recent that he told me that. So I'm like, okay. Kind of looking back, but it was also when I encounter a problem I couldn't solve. Like there would be just baby bitch like rage, where so they'd want to make that go away too. So just no coping mechanisms and really aggressive responses to the issues. So eventually later that would manifest in self-harm a lot of the time, or just spiraling ever downward, self-sabotage, because I would just stop giving a fuck. Yeah.
You're doing that with what, booze and drugs, or right? And there's all kinds of different ways, and there's people that cut themselves, and I'm not judging anybody, because when I hear that, I have questions. Mine was like, I'm going to destroy my body, but I'm expecting, look at you, your body's like kind of resilient. You're not male, right? So self-sabotage can take a lot
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, because, I wasn't ever like cutting necessarily, but yeah, I'll kind of, yeah, I can get into that. But essentially, I had no coping mechanisms for challenging problems. So I'd started drinking in high school. And then also I was kind of like a beta in a group. Like all my skater friends were getting pussy and I was not. And, it definitely had an effect on me later where I was trying to overcompensate with sex eventually. And just never resolved those things of inferiority. And so that just basically terrorized the next 15 years of my life. So when I got to college, was drinking and drugs and just pretty normal ones at first, LSD, mushrooms, cocaine, things like that. And I don't do hangovers. Like I just do not see the point of wasting the next day. So like I would. Or what's that? Or I'm having a.
All right, so you're in college, and you're messing with drugs, but you're not like mainlining heroin alone in a room.
Yeah.
You're just doing it, as it comes to you. Like somebody's got some coke, you do it.
Exactly.
So that's and you're in college. So all right, that's where we're at.
And once minor issues started rising, like breakups, for instance. I didn't really have the coping mechanisms to handle a lot of these things. So I would fall back on drinking. And essentially for the next 15 years, I just didn't grow. I didn't learn how to become a man. So I was kind of just pushing becoming a man further and further down the road. And some drug use in there. I also was diagnosed with ADD as a child. So I was on Adderall at like age 5, which looking back is like pretty fucked up. It's because like
it's pharmaceutical methamphetamine. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So then when I ended up being introduced to meth, I was like, oh, this is Adderall. Like this feels like Adderall. So I didn't have the same stigma towards it as everyone does, where they're like people still, when I tell the story, they're like, meth? Like, oh my God. And I'm just like, seemed pretty normal to me. Like,
right. And honestly, I agree with you because I had done that. Well, I was never prescribed, but like I'd done Adderall and I'm like, man. And I kind of went about it the other way. Like I did the pharmaceutical grade methamphetamine and I popped on a test one time and the doctor was like, you've been doing meth. And I'm like, fuck you. And he's like, no, you failed. You tested positive for meth. And then, but that's what did in my addict mind. I was like, oh, well, if I can't find Adderall, I can just get meth. Like it's the same thing. So I bridged the gap before anyways. But, and it seems like I'm kind of lit up about that. And that's not very fair for our community here, but it's still an awful thing. But as an addict, when you can figure out ways to continue your problem, like, it's a big deal.
Yeah. Like, not that I know a ton about downers, but I think that's happening with Suboxone or, methadone. I know nothing about downers, but, yeah. So my 20s were, I was in a sales job. I was doing phone sales, kind of like boiler room, toxic culture, and I loved every bit of that. Like I really thrived in the slimy, kind of masculine, just toxic environment. And but that came with a lot of drinking, a lot of drug use. So, I'd be day drinking pretty much every day. I was one of the better I was always one of the better salespeople. And at some jobs, I was the top salesperson. But, I mean, I set the record at this one place for the most times being fired and quitting and coming back. Because in phone sales, they don't give a fuck. If you can sell and you didn't do anything too bad, then they'll bring you back. So I've been back there 7 fucking times, like,
Right.
And it's just because, you can't hold down a job. You can't, you just can't operate. And then there's also a bar that you could go to. If you made a sale that day, you can go drink at a bar for free until the man, for, I guess, a couple hours after work. So I was there every day for years,
wow.
just getting free drinks. Like I was basically selling for drinks. And yeah, so things like that just kind of definitely kept me in the same spot for a really long time, because I'm 35 now. And, you know, so my whole 20s were essentially wasted or spent going down the, like, searching for something elsewhere, even though, like, I went to Africa because I was just really struggling in America. And
there's the answer.
Only to find my problems followed me. Yeah.
Right. And now that and like lions and like,
yeah. Yeah. Well, and you're just a threat, like not a threat, but you're just, you're prey. Like white men and white women have different experiences. White women love Africa a lot of the time because the men want to marry them. So they're actually genuinely nice to them. White men just get taken advantage of. Oh my God, I never want to be famous now. Cause like, that's what it feels like, is when every single person is bothering you.
You're a mark. Yeah. It's like they see you, they're like, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to get what I can. And that makes sense to me. So like, here we are, we're talking about you going to Africa. That seems like a highlight. However, you're delivering it like, well, I checked off this, weird, odd box off a list. Guess what? It wasn't the answer, right? But yeah. I think before we get into like the answer, brother, like, you're talking, the writing's on the wall. You're in a job where you're rewarded at a bar, and it perpetuates the culture. I understand from a phone sales job, you want maniacs doing cocaine and getting on the phone because they're going to be aggressive and they're going to get the fucking sale, and they need more cocaine, so they'll make a million calls. Like that's what you want. Like they won't leave until they get that damn thing done. And so I see that element, but the writing's on the wall here. So what I'm digging at is like, was there like this fucking come to Jesus moment, or like did you get locked up, or did you get like, what happened? Was there a pivot point, or was there like a real deep low that like really shed light on how bad things were?
There were a series of rock bottoms that just kept getting lower and lower. So one was Africa. I was just, I was suffering. I was lonely. As a straight appearing white male in America. And I knew that was ridiculous. Like, so I wanted to go travel somewhere where I thought there was more suffering. At first I was thinking Southeast Asia, but I'm like, well, no, I'm going to party way too much there. So I went and volunteered on this really small island in Kenya, Takwiri Island, of like 1,800 people. And it's really uncomfortable. I learned a ton about how to not take things personally, because it was always the people closest to you that took the most from you. But it's nothing personal. It wasn't Joe. But I learned a lot there. Came back. So that was kind of a rock bottom. I went to rehab right after that because it's really uncomfortable there. It's hot, mosquitoes, everything. And I was just kind of drinking away the discomfort instead of facing it and learning from it, which is what my original intention was to do. Was to start learning and growing, and I would just drink through the discomfort. So came back, went to rehab, drank on the plane ride home from rehab, and eventually crashed my car coming from that bar where I got the free drinks. I lasted years there, but eventually I ran into a friend from kindergarten, and we were just shooting the shit too long. I was getting too many free double rum and cokes and just crashed my car on the way home.
Right.
So
right.
DUI, another rock bottom. And then I got introduced to meth, and I was thinking that it was actually helping me because I've always had a hard time focusing, and alcohol doesn't help someone with ADD. So once I could actually focus on music or something for 16 hours at a time, I was like, oh man, this is the fucking secret. Like, oh my God, this is the ticket. I was like, oh my God, this is like, I could write really well at first. I could come up with a bunch of different ideas, and then none of them got done, and they got progressively weirder, and not progressively unfinished. Like I would spend all night on this, just perfecting the very first paragraph. And I'm like, okay, this doesn't work actually. But so it just kept getting lower and lower. And then I reached a point where I was just like, relationships were ending. I was just getting close to like killing myself. It just keeps getting worse and worse. And then that's when I finally made the change.
You said that last part like so, and that's when I finally made a change. That's a high note, but like, all right, so you went to rehab. Clearly, nothing happened there, right? And then you're doing math, and then like you become a musical genius overnight. Not really, but like it just one night. It took all night, and then the genius is gone. So, but yeah, long story longer. Shit's just rough. And then, so what did it entail? Like you made a decision clearly at some point. Well, what did were you AA guy? Did you do another rehab? Did you, what started to like really give you some, real traction?
Yeah. So it was a series of like, I had tried to go back to rehab this time for meth and alcohol and, left after 4 days. Because I was just so depressed. So I would be trying to quit meth for years, and the longest I could really do was 5 days at a time. Like on the 5th day, it just started to make too much sense to do it again because I was so depressed and I wasn't getting anything done. Just my neurochemistry was so fucked up. So it started to make sense to relapse because then I could actually start, maintaining my life again, which is why, the thing I do now, I'll show you how I overcome that. But tried to go to rehab, but I left after 4 days. I was like shitting my pants from the food. It was just lame. Like, and also I don't need to learn about, for instance, overcoming triggers when I'm the trigger. It's like I look in the mirror and I fucking hate myself. Like that's the trigger. So they're all the intellectual bullshit of like trying to think your way out of hating yourself. And you don't need to learn all these intellectual things regarding sobriety. You just need to fucking be able to look in the mirror and be like, damn, I'm fucking proud of you. That's the fucking secret to all of life is being proud of yourself. So no, I'm anti-AA in the sense of it doesn't encourage application of really anything other than the intellectual. At least from like no one's doing fucking burpees. That's what I mean. So
I mean, I'm with you there because it didn't resonate with me specifically because when I was repeating, I'm Ryan, I'm an alcoholic. Like I was done with the admitting. The denial shit was there was no denial for me because everything was just everything was in a shambles. What the hell was I denying? You'd have to be an absolute fool to not see what the hell the problem was. Yeah. But when I would say the problem, I felt like I was reinforcing it. And that was like my bugaboo with AA. I felt like every time I said it, I was cementing it in me. And therefore I just chose, like, I'm like, man, it's not for me. Now there's tons of evidence that it does work for a lot of people. So like, it's really important. It's a program that's very strong. So I'm not trying to take away from it for like others. No. And, I don't think you are either, right? If it works, it works. Yeah. Fucking do it. Yeah. That's cool. Like, but like me and clearly for you, like I was like, get me out of here. I didn't want to be there. Right. So I hear you, man. And so what did you do? It wasn't AA, right? And maybe it was burpees. What the hell was it?
Yeah. So I've been following this guy, Wes Watson, he's a fitness coach, Instagram influencer. I've just been following him for a long time. He went to prison for 10 years and just kind of realized that if he implemented 5 daily habits on a daily basis, which is early wake up, weight train, reading personal development material, tracking macronutrients, and no drugs and alcohol, you just realize that it to master the day is all one needs. Like it takes away all external influences on a person and gives them genuine inner peace. So I'd been kind of watching from afar, following him for a long time, and knowing he was speaking the truth, and just being like, I'm just not ready yet. Because there is some weird, I don't know, like looking back, it's so weird how we convince ourselves not to take that step towards sobriety because we think we're going to lose out on so much, and it's just such bullshit. It's crazy how our brains convince us. So I left rehab. Like, my girlfriend had been basically for months giving me the ultimatum of like, quit doing meth or we can't be together. And right. I'd fucking tried. But by that 5th day, it made no sense. Like, I was either going to kill myself or relapse because the depression gets so bad and whatnot. And so it's kind of like a last resort. I started working with Wes, and within just a couple days, it fixes your neurochemistry when you hit the gym hard. So if you're about to, like if you have to overcome alcohol withdrawal, cocaine withdrawal, methamphetamine withdrawal, I really don't know a ton about the opiate withdrawal, so I can't really speak for if it works the same, because I know opiates are like pretty fucked up, like what they do to your brain. But for all the other shit I can speak of, like, you need to get endorphins flowing in your brain before you even actually stop. You need to start healing that neurochemistry. Get in the gym, do the early wake up, stack wins throughout the day. So I was waking up early. I was proud of that. I'd gotten off meth. I was proud of that. This is just for a couple days. I was hitting the gym. I was proud of that. And I was still drinking at first, and I was fine with that. Because meth was the bad one I had to get off. Right. And when you start stacking wins, doing these 5 daily habits, early wake up, weight train, read, track macronutrients, and drop vices, like, those are 5 wins you can stack daily. So a lot of us don't even stack 1 win. Like, where we get up late, eat shitty, watch TV all day, and fucking don't do it. That's like literally no wins. Like, I think most people go through life stacking 0 wins. And so that was the thing that started to rebuild my brain chemistry, but also I knew it feels so good when you're stacking these wins. Like, for instance, it's 7:30 a.m. here. I've already stacked 4 or 5 wins, and most people aren't even up. So, you just start to look in the mirror and be like, cool, I got this. And then once these habits become ingrained in your psyche, and it just becomes let me
ask you something real quick, Joe. I know for me, when I was looking to stack those wins, man, I had to get rather humble, right? Yeah. Like, there was a real there's a real math to it. It's like, okay, and I'll just tell you, like, real quickly, my very specific physical the story here goes. Like, I went outside. I was 265. I'm 195 now. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I had a fractured wrist. That was like my excuse. So like, I'm just fucking sitting there. I was working $10 an hour at this job. So I'd go to work for the freaking 6 hours. It was like, that was my win. Not really a win. But anyways, I eventually said to myself, like, I got to do something. I'm fat as hell. And I had the knowledge. Yeah. I had trained. I'd done all kinds of different things before I was. So I'm all over the place. I was sober at this time, but I was fat as hell. So like the like point AA, of this is
that's like AA. Yeah.
Right. So I went outside and I did some jumping jacks, and I just said, fuck it. I'm going to do 3 minutes of jumping jacks. Total, not straight, like in a day. I gave myself an hour. I was like, I'm going to do 3 minutes of jumping jacks in an hour. Yeah. And honestly, that's all I could handle. Yeah. And I woke up the next day and I felt like my ankles and my knees got hit by a freaking baseball bat. Yeah. And so my question to you was like, how humble did you have to get to stack those wins? Because I know in that particular story for myself, like, I had to get, in my mind, pretty damn humble. For a person with 2 working legs, getting 3 minutes of jumping jacks done in a day is not really something to brag about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So if anyone does end up wanting to look at my coach, Wes Watson, it's really hard. Very few people are at that level. Like, he's so jacked. He's super rich. He has no fear, and everything that comes out of his mouth is like pure gold, truth, comedy, just blunt, the facts, So everyone's humble when that's your coach, you know, because it's going to take so long to get to his level. And that's what I think is great for, you know, if you're trying to, like, that's essentially what I'm trying to be for other people, because now I actually teach these habits. And yeah, so I think humility is, I mean, it's just going to be part of the game when your coach is a fucking monster, you know?
Right. And so, like, what habit was out of these 5 habits? I'm suspecting that it was like the physical exertion, you know, it was the exercise that seemed to come first, or maybe it wasn't, but which one was first? Which was the first domino?
Yeah. Early wake up. I think that's the most important one. Because if you negotiate with yourself on the early wake up, you can 100% assure yourself you're going to negotiate on every single other habit throughout the entire fucking day. Like, it pisses me off so much when people are like, I just have a really hard time waking up. It's like, fine, be average. That's cool. Like, it makes it so, like, so early wake up and then gym. You know, those 2 things are going to be paramount. So I was still drinking at the time, and I called myself an alcoholic for 15 years, and I was for sure. But alcohol just ended up slipping away because I implemented early wake up in gym. So I was still drinking till like midnight, but I was waking up at 4 a.m. And there would be a day or so where I wouldn't drink. You know, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to try not to drink. And then it would work. But then I'd reward myself the next day. I'd be drinking again. But I still would do the early wake up in gym. Well, enough of that, doing gym, both hungover and sober, you start to really be aware of like your preference. I was just like, man, I don't think I prefer drinking anymore. And 15 years of alcoholism just literally slipped away because I outgrew that person that needed that. I outgrew that person. Like, that person's super dead, like fucking completely dead. Where even if I relapsed now, it would be like I'd be back in the gym like 30 minutes from that. I'd be like, fuck that, and just go to the gym and get it out of my system as quick as possible. That person's just gone. So when you start implementing just a couple of these habits, it'll change who you are, and you won't need the drugs and alcohol for the same reasons you once did.
Yeah,
so early wake up in gym first.
I'm on board with that, brother, because I think there was a question posed to me not too long ago, and it was about like my chances of relapse. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I'm so, I guess, you know, addicted to who I am now, which involves a lot of very valuable endeavors. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm a new father, things of this nature, like big hitters in life. And so I've just poured all of that same addictive energy into these other things. So now, like, the triggers, like you had mentioned, you know, now they just look like a distraction from what I'm actually addicted to these days. Yeah. So it's like, if I think about booze, I'm like, well, yeah, but if I do that, I can't be there when my son wakes up. You know, like, if I spend an hour going to drink or going to a bar, that's one less hour that I have to either work out or you know, make a podcast, make a phone or something. Like, I just see it as like this shittier plan B. It's like, dude, yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, there'll be like this hint of euphoria for 15 minutes, and then the price I pay for that is like hours of shitty uselessness. And so, like, that math now, like, when I look at it, it's like so easy that I'm like, man, that seems so mediocre, and I don't that's not enough for me. I'm addicted to other things that are a little bit more valuable in my life. To grow. Right. It's something, you know. And when you say the word stack, I'm real big on stacking all kinds of stuff. And that same conversation I was having was with a mental health professional. that same professional told me like, I'm very worried about you using that word of like stacking priorities. And that's the way I delivered it was like, I'm stacking my priorities, that they're all so important. Like 1 through 30 is so important that like drinking and drugs is like 50th on that list.
Yeah. Nice.
And they were like, oh, that word stack is like, it's a bit of a red flag. And I just disagree. I just like,
okay, how's pile? Like, who gives a fuck? You're arguing over semantics?
How's pile? Problem solved. I should have said pile.
Yeah. Like, what does stack have? Yeah. Is that like slang for like some sort of drug term? I mean, I kind of.
Right. So all right. So these days, you're implementing these 5 habits. You clearly have success is dialed in habitually for you. Like you're working with a coach, but I think, the audience, they're going to want to know, like, what are you doing? Are you implementing? Are you coaching people yourself? Or do you got like a book? What do you have on the horizon? What kind of projects can we see from Joe Jacobson?
Yeah. So I'm running a mindset fitness coaching out of Instagram. So it's Joe_Graham_program, Joe Graham program. I had kind of known before sobering up that that the only point to staying alive would be to help other people. Like when I was really analyzing getting off meth, I was like, but why? Like to do what? Like I had that little of a view of my life. I'm like, to be what though? Like, I'm like, oh, I guess like to help other people. Okay. So I even looked into maybe doing a nonprofit or something. This is while I was still using. I didn't know how to, But Wes has a way to essentially lead from the front and create other coaches, which, it gives us purpose to stay sober. It's so much accountability when you're posting every day and then to have everyone watch you just disappear for a week or something like that. It just makes that way harder to do. So, and I knew basically 2 weeks into getting off drugs and alcohol and stacking these wins, piling up these wins on a daily basis. I was like, man, this is borderline magic. Like I feel so good this early in. I was like, this is borderline magic. I have to get the word out on this is all you need, because so many people spend tens of thousands of dollars on rehab like I did, and just to fail at thinking their way out of it. And then the biggest trigger is always going to be our own self-worth. So if self-discipline is the highest form of self-love. So when you just start getting disciplined and really putting in the work to instill the worth, like you're unstoppable, because then it no longer becomes about what you're trying to achieve. It's no longer about the result, because you're validating yourself on a daily basis. And that's the only thing that's what makes you feel the best. That's what works, is the 5 habits. And I should go into the others a little bit. Obviously, reading personal development material is pretty easy, but tracking macronutrients, a lot of people don't know. It's the questions I get the most about. So your proteins, carbs, and fats are your macronutrients, and then overall calories. So when you go and lift weights, most people who go to the gym don't really see the results they want. Like they don't know, and they don't know why. And that's your macronutrients and calories. So weight training with a purpose to actually try to build muscle or lose fat. Macronutrients are what's going to give you results. But that's actually one of the hardest things to do. Oh, yeah. So you really level up in a ridiculous way. So like my slips used to be relapses. Now it's like eating Oreos and like,
fucking Oreos,
up a little later or something. Like Dude, that's literally a relapse to me.
Oreos, man. I think they get me, bro. Those things are like Satan in a cookie, bro. Like 2 of them is like 180 calories. Like, man, they're so good. Like, so I hear you on that. That's for sure. But and it is also like it's definitely the hardest part. That's why you see a lot of like people say they spin the same thing, because it's like, they'll say 20% with the picture of the weights, and then like 80% like a picture of the chicken and the broccoli. And it's just the truth, man. It's just the truth. And when you combine the both well, which is what you're doing, like, you know, the results are right there. Right. So that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it just sets you, it instills these habits on a daily basis that make you able to achieve anything. Because again, it's not about the results. So you just become, you know, self-actualized or on the way, you know, on the path. And yeah, it gives you just a better sense of the world, both negatively and positively. Like I didn't really realize how important self-development was for the people around us. I just kind of was like, maybe it's important for my life to whatever become something great. But also if I die, who gives a fuck? Well, now I realize how much of an impact we have on our immediate surroundings. So this is actually why the world sucks right now, is because good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. So we're literally in hard times right now, and it's really important for us to develop ourselves and grow as people, because otherwise we're just going to stay at low frequencies like anger, shame, guilt, or the bottom of the frequency chart. And at the top, acceptance, love, enlightenment. And we have an average, you know, we have a collective consciousness mean. And the better we get, the more we raise the vibration, the total vibration of humankind. So it's really important. So yeah, come work with me. It's basically durations of time. So like 1 month is $299 for a workout program, macros, and weekly coaching calls. 3 months is $750. 6 months is $1,299. A year is $2,000. And you get your macros. You never have to think about it. It's kind of hard for people to actually calculate themselves. And then the workouts, which a lot of people don't know what they're supposed to do. So they go to the gym and putter around, and that's just a wasted time. So if you're going to the gym and not tracking macronutrients, 100%, you've just been wasting your time the entire time, like your whole life. You might as well not do it. Like you could get in better shape just by tracking your macronutrients. You don't even really have to go to the gym if you don't want to. But so yeah, that's what I teach, and I'm always posting every day, just positive stuff. And
so it's Joe_Graham_program. Now that's your Instagram handle, or is that the Gotcha.
Yeah, Joe Graham.
So you
program.
post it every day.
Yeah,
dude, it's massive. And I'm right on board with that whole like collective frequency thing, man. And that's why I really appreciate and I really value somebody like yourself out there, putting boots to ground and trying to raise that frequency up. You know.
Yeah, it's really important. Now more than ever, you know, for all of our technological advancements, there's always another side to that coin where we're close to annihilation. We saw it in World War I and World War II, and you know, we're on the brink of some really phenomenal technological advancements, but we've never been closer to nuclear war, and the deciding factor is going to be our own personal development. And here's an example, like guilt and shame is the lowest frequency on the chart. And so what would happen if a whole population was operating out of guilt and shame? We actually saw that after World War I, the Treaty of Versailles blamed Germany. And then what came out of that was like some of the most evil shit ever, Third Reich.
It's very true, yeah.
If we're all going to operate out of anger in America, like what do you think's going to happen? Like negative shit. So it's really important that we better ourselves.
Yeah, man. It's, you know, those markers are left in history, and we'd be fools to not pay attention, even though we're flawed, right? Like we're humans, and so we do our damnedest, right? We do our best, and I think, I know that when you combine like a large scale positive goal or aim, you know, like raising the collective frequency, very big, right? But then also, as you had used, like the flip side of that coin is what you do every day habitually. And that's waking the fuck up early. And that's like getting a move on, not procrastinating, you know, making some moves about what you're putting into your body. You know, that's not affecting everybody else immediately, right? You're eating a bunch of fried chicken, like everybody's not going to be in tears, but but eventually you feel shitty, and then you'll start to make people feel shitty. So it's like eventually it will start to overflow, and it starts. And then again, if we all do that, now you've got a collective consciousness that's not operating at an ideal frequency. And man, I'm picking up on what you're putting down there, brother. But yeah, this has been another episode of The Next Fix. Joe Jacobson, you're the man, bro. You're making a ton of moves, and I'm gonna get all your stuff outlined on the show, so everybody can come find you, man, and start making moves themselves.
Nice. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, super appreciate it. Super nice to meet you. Yeah, got to stay in touch.
Right on. All right, guys. Until next time.